Okay, Bugville. Man, if you had any, if you weren't sure, right? Just one look at this, you know. Look at the water damage here. I hope the frame of this house is still solid. Can you imagine? How easy is it to start a fire in there full of bugs? That's a big road. Renovator 1, bathroom, nothing. Here's the secret weapon. Better to learn how to do this yourself. Look at the water damage here. Oh, this is where it gets interesting. Oh yeah! That is crazy. Look at this. That is fantastic. This is not even 4 feet wide. Welcome back to our modern rustic farmhouse. This is my crew, Maddie and Zeus. What are you doing, Matt? No, make him come to you. Look, you got 3 sticks now. Perfect. Can you pull the splinter out of my eye, please?
You have a splinter in your eye?
You just shattered the thing in my face.
Don't be dramatic. As if it broke into 3 pieces, eh?
They're gonna tear apart the old siding, and we're gonna see what kind of condition the old house is in. Hopefully, all we have to do is introduce some new air barrier and get a new finish on it. And by finish, I mean just some nice new vinyl siding. Okay.
There's the first little bit.
I appreciate the energy, but let's try to do a little more controlled.
Yeah.
Okay, well, before you pull this off, let me just disengage this, all right? So you don't pull the whole house down at one piece.
Right.
That won't fit in the bin. Just slide that across the rest of that way. All right. Now this hole in the wall here, we're gonna repair. This is just to make it through the winter time, but I think you almost got it there, bud. Let's go.
Is that it?
Yeah, that'll give up the ghost just fine. All right.
Just watch
And
your
then,
face.
Ready?
Oh yeah!
There you go.
Okay. Bugs. Everything up.
Bugville. Nice. Dear Lord. Okay. Loving it.
Are we?
Man, if you had any, if you weren't sure, right? Just one look at this, you know. There was really no control around the window. Look at the water damage here. I hope the frame of this house is still solid. You want to pull all this crap off and we'll have a good look at her.
Have a good look at her.
Have a good look at her.
So many bugs, man.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing. This assembly really promotes an environment where bugs can live. Look at this. The Japanese beetles love this stuff, eh?
Yeah, they do. Came all the way from Japan for this stuff.
Came all the way from Japan. Oh. Man, oh man. Yeah, joke's on them. They thought that getting in behind this, they'd be insulated for the wintertime, but. Bugville. Okay, Matt, what I want you to do is we want to take off the top of this porch here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can get the rest of the siding all the way down. Take it up to where my Tyvek wrap is 10 feet, where it'll go from the bottom to just underneath a layer of siding like this. I don't think that's 10 feet yet, but just measure that off, okay?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, these straps are all 8-footers, so they stop here. That's perfect for us, all right? Once we get it all skinned down, we'll have a look structurally, probably have to do some repairs on this window, because that was temporary. And then we'll get it house wrapped before the rains come. Oh, that's gonna be a long day.
Yep.
So the reason we got into this house is because we spent the first 43 years of our marriage renting.
How many did he say?
43.
43, Have we been married? Oh, we're 49 years old. Okay. So, that's awesome.
Whoa!
Yeah.
That makes me 63 right now.
No, it makes you 61.
Oh, okay.
But you're not.
Okay.
So, how many years have we been married now? 29?
29 years.
29?
Yeah.
Wow. So, we got into this house because we spent the first 23 years of our marriage renting.
Renting.
The last few years, at least, we rented nicer places.
Due to, you know, several circumstances,
Well,
raising
when
4
you get married when you're
children,
18 and you have 4 kids.
heavy
and
into every sport you can imagine.
You're broke. Let's just face it, you're just broke. And we didn't have any special event income influxes. So we never did put together a down payment for a house for a long time.
It took us a long time to put together a down payment.
So
which is pretty hefty here in Canada,
it's
if you
tough.
don't know that.
The mortgage rules here in Canada are brutal. Yeah. And it's not easy getting started. So we had to come up with a lot of money.
We did.
I think
we did it.
We did, yeah. It was almost $50,000 to buy a house here. That seems crazy, but it was a lot. And that's with the mortgage. Anyway, we finally put it together, and we had a certain budget we had to fit, and we wanted to move out in the country because our budget in the city wasn't going to work.
Right.
We would have bought a trash can. That's funny, because I remember when we first bought the place, we moved here, it was like, we have arrived. We are homeowners.
Well, definitely a big milestone in our life. I mean, we remember every spring we would get the itch.
Yes.
To go for Sunday drives.
And
just
for houses.
Salivate looking at homes and, we could buy that one.
We'd look at our budget and we'd be looking at these places that were like abandoned. Yeah. And you look in the window and it's dirty and there's squirrels running around and we're like, this could be ours. And we were...
And I'm like, no.
We'll wait till next year. Wait till next year. We probably could have bought a house back in 2008 when the financial crisis hit, but then the mortgage rules got really tight. And we had to wait a few more years. And wow, that was interesting. But now here we are. We own our own house.
Love it.
Renovating the living daylights out of it.
Yes.
And looking forward to the next one? Wow.
Why not?
Not even like take a year off and relax?
We'll see what the future holds.
That means we're buying another house as soon as this one's done. Well, we started tearing off the old wall and had to clean up the mess, really. We got rid of some of the decking. Now today we're gonna finish skinning this back so we can get rebuilding again. So if you're like me and you're fixing up an old house, vinyl siding is really kind of a labor of love. Step number 1, you've got to remove everything right back to the original skin of the house. That means whether it's OSB or original wood siding, that's where you start, especially with older homes. People love to put layer on layer on layer on the outside of a house, but it really has very little value. Why build your house all the way out here when the cold's coming in from way down here? So we want to take it all the way back so that we can guarantee the integrity of our water diversion system, which is what siding is a part of. It's not the total answer. So if you're going to go do a siding job, don't just stick it on whatever's there. Peel it all back, get rid of the garbage, start fresh. That way you can be sure that you're going to be able to control the air and the moisture and the rodents and have a successful finish. Let's just go at it and see what we find. Oh yeah.
Gonna step over this guy?
Yeah, no problem. Wow. There are more nails holding on this bottom trim than there are holding up most of the structure in this house. Look at this. Max, you gotta see this. You'd think that this part of the house was structurally the most integral part of the whole build. This is just for holding on the trim. Okay. I think underneath that doormat, it's gonna be all rotten.
Yeah.
Because this was all open up the whole time. Let's just just nasty. Wow. How are the beetles down there? You save them for lunch. So much going on there. So here's part of the problem with the way people build. This door is installed 3 inches back from the face because layer on layer on layer on layer. It had to be attached to structure, which is buried in this wall. That also means that there's a place here where all the water was getting underneath all of the vinyl trim. That just creates a whole rotting mess. That's just not good for your home. We'll have a good look at her. Soft like butter. I think that's going to be part of the original door sill.
Yeah.
If we remove the trim all the way around, then we'll just be able to pull the door up and be done with it.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah.
All right.
Let's do this. Let's take the drill. We'll disconnect the electrical box from the wall. It's just surface mounted. And then...
I don't know where you get all these terms from.
Surface mounted?
Oh, surface mounted, okay.
That's a lot easier now. Look at that. Yeah.
So we have masks on for this?
Working outside? On your own house? Look at this.
Oh yeah. I don't know if this is like insulation or just a thick layer of bugs behind that thing.
Feels like bugs to me. Crunchy! Cereal!
Nice.
Yeah, let's siding first. Oh, you gotta stop with that layer? You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's do that.
Nice.
Cool.
Like a toy guy.
All right.
Oh, okay. There we go. That shouldn't be that easy. They got wings. We got a flying ant colony hiding in that wall. That's one of the things, eh? Layer on layer breeds insects. You just give them a home to live in. I've never seen anybody so dedicated to putting in strapping. Looks like something you'd put underneath the bridge to keep the pigeons out. So in our plan, we're gonna remove this door because we added another door around the corner. This is the windy side of the house. And so by changing the entrance to the other side, it'll save a lot of money on heating costs. So just so you know, we're gonna have to frame this up, close it up, and extend the skin, make it nice and flush. This old window here, we have to remove all this frame as well, and then reframe it inside the existing wall so we can finish off with our skin flush with the original wood. It'll take a little extra work, but it's gonna be so worth it. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. That's good for the soul. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking the material that I'm using to sheathe over the hole, added it to my lumber for my backing. So now that I've screwed it on, I can just move this around until this is nice and flush with the surface that I'm gonna be putting my house wrap over, and then I can screw it in. Oh. God.
Going that way. Sparks go that way. I'm just gonna see. Oh, just slide on off now. There we go. Cool.
So one of the benefits, or should I say drawbacks, of balloon frame construction is every time somebody takes the window from here and covers it up and puts the window in over there and then covers it up and puts another window over here, they keep cutting through the vertical supports of the house. So from here all the way over, all these supports have been cut through and replaced with just little bits of pieces of framing. Now, this wall is actually starting to bow outwards. So that's a really good thing for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the inside, get some 6-inch structural screws, go right through the side of my staircase and pull it all back tight together. I'm glad I found this when I did. At least I can fix it. So when you're dealing with a situation like this, you're looking for two things. One, you want to create a surface, a nailing surface for your new skin on the building to go flush. The second is you want to have some structure in the wall so that you can insulate properly. So as you can see, we're going to just put a couple of horizontal pieces in here that we can put a bat of insulation in each one of those little segments. That'll hold it all together while we put the skin on. It's easier for us to go horizontal here because there's actually wood in the wall for us to attach to. The top and the bottom don't have a lot of integrity left. So we bought this house, the first renovation that happened. And I did it in 3 hours. I moved the laundry from the cellar. You've seen it, the one with all the trees? Yeah, there's no way in heck she was doing the laundry down there. Not that you have to do the laundry.
You're a sweetheart. Mm-hmm.
But the first thing I did when I moved here, before I took any boxes off the truck, is I moved the laundry up onto the main floor of the house. I busted holes in all the walls, ran all the plumbing, put in drain, venting, all of it, and moved the laundry, and then we emptied the truck.
Well, I mean, we had 2 bedrooms upstairs, which would make a lot of sense, you know, for easy laundry collection and...
Of course it made sense. Yeah. And it's been wonderful having it up there.
Oh, absolutely. I love it.
Either that or I'd be buying new clothes every week for my wife because she was not doing the laundry in the basement.
Yeah, thank you.
I was not going to make you do that. That basement was a scary place.
I'm pretty sure I demanded you to do that.
When we first got here, we had to hire an exterminator to deal with the spiders. The house had been sitting empty for a year, and the spiders were everywhere.
We had bats.
Our spiders had pet spiders.
And we had bats, too.
We had bats.
And we had...
bats in the house. We had a bat in the house. I don't even know how he found his way through, but he got in the house.
Through an open window.
Maybe. We'll blame the window. Yeah. Mice.
Anyways,
we've had rats.
All the vermin's gone now.
We've had squirrels.
It's been a while.
Yeah. All right, so I have a question for you. If, knowing what you know now, looking back, should we have changed the way we lived our lives so that we could have get a house sooner? Like, I mean, like, never go out for dinner, never have pizza, never take a holiday, never buy new clothes. Would it have been worth it to get a house sooner? I know, tough question.
Impossible. It was everything was for the kids.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, we would go out for anniversaries to like a seafood dinner, but...
Well, the truth is I'd blindfold you, drive you around the neighborhood and bring you back to the house and the kids would serve you dinner.
Anyways.
Yeah, that's tough. Changing your life to get a house faster.
Yeah.
Gotta live. All right, so now we've got the wall framed up and bat insulation. I've also used a little bit of spray foam in all the corners and little weird spots just to make sure I got a good seal. So we're gonna finish tearing all this out, remove the door, and then it'll be time for step 2, which is to reframe and then to skin all of the holes. Now, I got a quick question for you. We're gonna be going back with a vinyl siding. There's a lot of products on the market now. You can go with a cement fiberboard, with a good vinyl. You can also go with wood siding. It's a board and batten look. So I just wanted to know, put in the comment section below what you think would be your favorite on an old house like this and why. Let's have that conversation, because I think it'll be really good for a lot of people to hear about the differences. There we go. Go, sir.
Want to get a shot of me breaking the glass?
Oh, don't you dare.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I mean, I could, but it's not a great idea.
If you fall in there, you're going to be impaled so many times.
It's not a great idea.
Dear God.
Okay, that didn't even break it.
You trying to break the glass in the bin?
Yeah.
Let's get the ladder over here. One of the advantages to doing this kind of work this time of year, well, it's still cold outside, is all your infestations are slow and stupid. Otherwise, they'd be swarming our faces right now.
Why is that? Why are they so slow?
Because it's cold.
Really?
Yeah. This is the reason why you don't want to put layer on layer. This is how nasty it gets. That's an electrical box. Can you imagine? How easy is it to start a fire in there full of bugs? This is just for good measure. Make sure that everything is sealed up nice and tight. Okay, here we go. Step number 3 is to weatherproof the building, not waterproof. Now this is really interesting because there's a lot of conflicting information out there and people using the wrong terms. When you're putting a Tyvek or a Typar or an exterior barrier on the house, most cases it's a perforated kind of plastic paper. The goal of this paper is not to waterproof your exterior of the house like a membrane you'd roll on in a shower. This goal is to weatherproof. Now it goes behind the physical barrier of the rain, the sleet, the hail, which would be your siding. And what it is, it's designed temporarily during construction to keep the structure dry, but it's designed long-term to keep the wind-driving rains from penetrating through the paper into the house building. Now, the bottom line is, it's not a waterproofing barrier, it's part of the water diversion system. Hell, even the roof isn't a waterproofing system, it's a water diversion system. If you live in the north, you'd know you get ice buildup. That ice goes crawling up underneath behind the shingles. It will penetrate the roof when it thaws. It's not waterproof. It's only designed to shed water off the building if it continues to travel in the right direction. Same thing with this material. If the wind drives the rain up and behind the siding somehow, that will help it to be deflected down the wall and then out at the bottom. So, when you're hearing and you're thinking about waterproofing versus water deflection versus water diversion systems, the reality is this. We're not trying to waterproof the house. We're trying to weatherproof the house. If the structure behind all of this system gets a little damp on occasion due to extreme weather, that's okay. It will dissipate and dry out and everything will be fine. You want to really stretch that out. I'm liking that. All right. I want to go about 6 inches past the corner. We wanted to have a little bit extra to come around the corner, just so that when we do the other side, we have a nice, easy seal. Okay, so for everybody who's wondering, I'm taping the tie part to the existing siding on the other side, because we're going to be approaching this house one stage at a time, in between weather events, trying to get it closed up before the heat comes. Whew. You can see that even an old pig like this, once you start putting them together again, if you go back to the beginning, starts to look like a normal house. So, step 4, before you add your siding, there are 2 things you have to do. 1, you have to put the strapping on. 2, you need to install all your trims. That's right. You want to put all of your J trims and corner and everything else in together before you start siding. So, we're going to get the straps on today, so we're ready to side when the product arrives. Whew. All right. That looks good. So if I was to give any advice to young people, I would say this. Stay at home until you buy your own place. Don't start the rental trap until, don't do it. Stay home until you can buy a place.
It's so difficult to save when you're giving out money and making somebody else rich.
Times are different.
Yeah.
It's funny, you know, we were visiting in Brampton with Sam and Audrey. We did that renovation at their house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Danielle, their father, was talking about how when he came to Canada in the 70s, you can get a job and within a couple of months save up enough money to buy a car.
Yeah.
And in a few months later save enough money and buy a house. There's nobody that can get a job as an immigrant in this country today who can after 6 months buy a car and a house. Unless you bring your own money. If you're a young person, you graduate high school, you're not saving money for these things. Like, don't get in the debt trap. Put all your money aside. Find a way to teach yourself the discipline to save your money. Man, it is so easy to spend it. This world is full of a lot of fun opportunities.
Absolutely.
Save your money, because once you got a place, wow. Like, our mortgage is less than our rent ever was.
Yeah, that is true.
It gets crazy.
Yeah.
And every year we look at our bank balance and we're just like, woohoo, the mortgage is going down, our value is going up. You know, if you're DIYing, you can put a couple $1,000s a year into your house and you can earn some value. And now you're moving in a positive direction.
Let's talk about that a bit further. Remember when we had, well, geez, there were several places we rented, but we didn't like the color of the room and we wanted to paint it. I mean,
yeah.
We used to do our own renovations and we didn't even own the place.
Yeah.
But
we got in a bit of
permission.
trouble once, yeah.
Okay, once we did get in trouble, but...
I painted the whole house. And then when we had to leave, I had to paint the whole house white again.
Yeah, well, it was worth it.
We didn't want our colors.
We wanted our colors.
We wanted our colors. We were going to go crazy in a white house.
And then didn't you add a wall to Christina's
yeah.
apartment once?
Yeah, well, we had permission for that.
We had full permission for that.
I think it was, it was unofficially official. My daughter went to Oxford University and she had 2 friends and they were looking for an apartment, but they couldn't afford a 3-bedroom apartment. So they got a 2-bedroom apartment with a living room, dining room, and we got permission from the landlord to throw up an interior wall and make a 3rd bedroom. Of course, there's no building permit on that either. I mean, that's just wrong. What we have to do is create a water diversion system on this old pig. So we're going to skin the entire wall, new OSB. We're just adding a little bit of back framing, okay? Covering it all with the Typar or Tyvek. Any house wrap will do. Some is better than the others. I'm not going to get into the debate. The point is, these systems are all the same. They keep the water from getting in behind, and they shed it down, all right? But they allow moisture or air vapor to pass through it. So it's an awesome technology. We're going to cover all this up. We're going to tape your joints. We're going to get down to here. Now, in this corner, I've got two different foundations. Over here, I've got a stacked stone, and the house is actually built right on top of it and extends just a little bit past the stone. Over here, I've got a 2-foot wide stone foundation. It's basically two walls of stacked stone set up against each other. And so this one, we have to create a water diversion system that gets in behind the Tyvek with metal, bent some metal out and over and around. And we also want to seal all this up with our expansion foam. Now this is important. We talked earlier about these old houses. The stone wall is not actually attached to the rest of the construction. It's balloon frame. Everything is sitting on the floor joists, and it acts independently in a lot of cases. So when you get to here, you want to use a little bit of this foam all across the joint. And right here, Max, there's a huge gap here. We want to be sure to fill that gap with the expansion foam, especially tight there. Now I'm going to foam the rest of this, and then we'll show you the next part of the diversion system, which is our flashing. Now we've got our metal that we have bent. Now here we go. We're going to just set this in position right into the foam, okay? Now Matt, what we're looking at is this point right here. That we want to have down, and then just throw some surface nails. This is really starting to look bad. So my favorite system for putting in a nail is to hold the nail in between your fingers, all right? Not with your fingers. This way, in between your fingers. Put the nail where you need it, put your fingers up against the board, and that'll keep the tip still, and then you can give it a good whack. And then if you drive too hard, you're hitting the soft tissue of your hand that isn't gonna get bruised and dented or injured. All right? That way you can give it a good shot, you can penetrate the steel.
Boom.
So here, we can show you another trick. When you're sitting down like that, you've got to hold the nail on an angle, so just about a 5-degree. Okay. It's not bad for a guy who only does this once every 5 years.
Oh, I mean, when you're I guess when you were my age, you guys didn't have air nailers, eh?
No, we all had to know how to use skills. No, wait, you need an angle here.
There's my angle.
There's your angle. Now hit the damn thing. There you go. Now you are a freaking nailing machine. Loving it. Here we go. Now we're using puck tape. Tape it to the back of the wall. All right. So now it's time to install your vinyl. Now get your nail going. Now, in order to drive that nail deep, if you're good with a hammer, you can just line up and whack it. But if you're not, you're gonna hit the vinyl and you're gonna break your trim. That's expensive. So if you set up your hammer, put the butt of your hammer on the wall, and you hold it on the wall and give it a swing, you'll be able to knock it in without damaging your trim. Put it up, back it off, give it a good shot. Nice and simple. What I've done is I've set up my laser level with a nice horizontal line, and this is my starting strip. And the idea here is this gets nailed to the wall, this flange piece sticks out, and your siding, your first piece, will get clipped onto there, and then you nail that in. We're good. We have our level line. We got our corner. This is awesome. This color is Meadow Fern. It's relatively new on the market. So this is really nice because it has one of those modern colors, and in conjunction with the commercial brown trim, doors, windows, and soffit, I'm gonna end up with a more modern looking house, hopefully. It won't look like it's 140, 50 years old anymore. There's two things you need to know. One, in the summertime, install snug. If you're doing this in the spring or the fall, leave a little bit of gap, okay? You're going 1/4 inch on each side because it is gonna get hot and it'll expand. If you're installing this in the winter, just stop and wait until next spring. It's just too difficult to work with. Put your nail in the middle of these gaps. What I'm about to show you here is the most important rule when you're installing siding. And nobody ever does it, which is why every time you drive down the road and you look at a new house construction, you see an absolute mess of warped walls. You put your nail in the middle, and you don't attach it too snug, okay? Leave the ability for that siding to maneuver. If you hammer that all the way flat, let me do an example here of how not to do it, okay? How not to do it 101. You put it on an edge, and you hammer it in nice and tight. And then you go down here and you put another one in, and all right. What you got here is a nail on one side of the gap and a nail on the other side of the gap. They're both pinched tight. This siding can't move. In the summertime, the only thing it can do is buckle in between the nails. All right? That's not how you want to put this stuff on. In the extreme weather, you want your siding to be able to slide across the nail. Here, I'll use this again, because that one's in there pretty good because it's hot today. You want to install your siding in the middle of all your gaps so it can move around. So for everybody who bought a house and is disappointed with the way their siding is performing, go out and buy yourself a siding removing tool, and it's a little red hook, goes underneath, lift it up and check to see, are your nails all pinned in nice and tight? Are they stuck in the corners so that the siding can't move around? And if that's causing your buckling, that's an improper installation, and the guys who installed it are going to be bound by warranty to come and fix it. There we go. Piece of cake, isn't it? You got a real serious look.
You know how, this is a very serious question.
Okay.
We're getting a lot of emails lately by young men and women who, their aspirations are to get into the renovation business,
Yeah.
general contracting, whether it's owning their own painting company or electrical. Do you have any advice on that? I mean, it's just like we're getting more and more of these emails and questions.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I got two pieces of advice. One is know your personality type and then line it up to the kind of work you want to do. If you are methodical and precise and you're mathematical, then oddly enough, being a plumber or an electrician is really good business for you. Because it is exactly that. It's very methodical, it's very exact, it's very rule-oriented, this is the way you do it. There's no creativity involved. If you're a creative person, then getting involved with the painting or tile work for creative people is awesome.
Yeah.
There's no limitation.
Yeah.
Now, as far as being in the trades are concerned, don't be in a hurry to own your own company. Go find somebody that you can learn under, who is absolutely amazing at what they do and maybe is really, really, really demanding and maybe even uncomfortable to work for.
You've had your share of those.
You know, my greatest experience, I'll always say this, was the biggest jerk I've ever known in my life was my greatest teacher. Because there was
Without mentioning any names.
No, I mean, I had to make a living. I couldn't afford to get fired. I had babies at home. And what I learned is the guy that demanded the most from me and expected the most from me in the shortest amount of time became my greatest teacher. Because within 2 weeks, I got 2 to 5 years worth of experience. And don't be afraid of being in a really difficult place. Embrace it. You're going to become amazing by it. Right?
Yeah, and don't forget all the hard work and dedication, and you have to have an immense drive.
Oh, if you want to be good at anything in this world, you got to be committed.
Yeah.
Going to the trades is not a cop-out. It's not an easy path.
No.
But it's incredibly rewarding because at the end of the day, you get to look at what you did and say, I built that. And if that turns you on, then it's, trades are for you. If you could care less about what you do when you go to work, I would say don't do it. Because you're going to be too prone to cutting corners and taking the easy way out, and you're going to make people's lives miserable around you. So what we decided is we moved the front door to a different location, away from the wind. That's great, but we still would like to have the daylight coming through to light up the front hall area. So we've got a situation now because we were thinking, well, what a great way to show people a neat trick if we finished all the siding and everything outside first, and then we put the window in. Because that'll give you the flexibility at home to put a window in any part of the house that you want. First of all, I ordered my window so it would fit in between the framing here, and I got it 39 inches tall. So I'm actually going to cut a hole that's 40 inches big because that'll be a lot easier to install the window nice and level in case it isn't level right now. All right. All right. Hey. All right, so I'm gonna go grab the window and my helper. We'll be right back. Maddie T! I can't find my helper anywhere, so I'm gonna get Max out from behind the camera. We'll leave things running, and I'll let him edit it later. But I need an extra hand putting this up. All right? So all I'm gonna do, stick it in the hole, and I'm gonna have you hold it there so that I can do all my measuring and marking. Oh, I was getting some water last night. Huh. Somebody doesn't know how to measure. What did I do? Oh yeah. So I was supposed to cut at 49, not 39. Yeah, nice, eh? I don't have a sweet clue what I'm doing. There we go. One whole pile down here. All right, it's all coming back to me now. You know, we did this. Must have closed this up 4 or 5, maybe 6 months ago. I forgot that I'd already framed all of this for the right height. I measured wrong the first time. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to do some insulating, but I have already got all this set up. All I have to do is cut the extra drywall out and then trim back the stud here so that I can lay my 2x4 across. And then we're good to go with the installation. There you go. Okay. Yeah, this is like putting lipstick on a pig, but I think she's gonna be ready for the dance in just a few minutes. All right. Shut up. My cutoff was actually pretty perfect as well. Spooky day. All right, things are going too well around here, Max. All right. Okay, up and at it. Higher, 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 higher. There you go. Right there. Wow. I'm loving it. Pretty darn awesome. Only thing left for us is put in the window foam. A little bit too much daylight there. This is just to create an air seal. Windows only have an R value of 5, so it doesn't take a lot of foam to get that same rating. Secret here is to keep the air from blowing through. And it will continue to expand probably for another 20 minutes or so. It gets to about 1.5 times its size. The benefit of the window foam is that it'll grow out before it'll push up. All right, so I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna throw a couple more layers of siding on and a little bit more J-trim, and I'm gonna caulk the windows to the siding. All right, so I got a bit of advice. Yeah, is this fair? For guys that are working in the trades? And I'm gonna give this out for free. Here's some advice if you want to know how to get ahead. In the trades, everybody knows your most productive time is before lunch. Once you eat your lunch, you are not moving as fast in the afternoon. Even if it's a small lunch, there's something about stepping away from the work and then trying to get back into the groove again, especially when you're working hard. You just don't have the same energy level. So here's my advice. Go down to Home Depot at 6 o'clock in the morning and research, and you'll see from 6 to 7 o'clock in the morning, 4 guys are going to show up. From 7 to 8, 10 guys are going to show up. And from 8 to 9, 400 guys are going to show up. Okay? If you want to make money in this business, be one of the guys from 6 to 7. You get in, you get your shopping done, you get out in about 6 minutes. There's never a lineup, there's never a wait, and you're going to add 2 hours of work time to your day. All right? Yeah, 2 hours of the most productive work time to your day. You also are not going to drive in any rush hour traffic because you're going to be on the site by 7 in the morning. That's the secret. Anybody who waits a little bit longer is in rush hour traffic until they get to Home Depot. They're in lineups to get out of there. They're in rush hour traffic after they leave. And they get to work at 10:30 and they have an hour and a half of productive time. Then they have lunch and that's the day. If you're at job by 7 o'clock, you'll make a fortune. All right, as you can tell from the pictures, it's a pretty dramatic change, right? But this is only step 1. So what you need to understand is we just basically reinstated a brand new water diversion system to this house, got it sealed up from the critters, and gave it a bit of a facelift. But the reality is we got a lot of work left to do out here. We still have to finish all of this patio off. We've got a lot of elements that are going to be coming in videos to come. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. You don't want to miss anything that's coming up, all right? And you can watch this video right here and you can keep watching Reality Renovision. And don't forget, this renovation was done by us. We made a fortune doing it, and you can do it too.